Hey, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Chris Maloney back with you for another episode of CWN Weekly. It is episode number 11. It is Friday, October the 30th, 2020. Hence the get up. So you can see the Mr. Pumpkin guy behind me there. I've got the Devils hat going on. My second favorite hockey team in the NHL. First is Ottawa Senators. Second is the New Jersey Devils. Kind of grew up with them. And fitting because it is Devil's Night tonight. So I was going to rock the jersey as well. But I do have the SSB, otherwise known as the Dark Order shirt going on tonight. So anyways, like I said, my name is Chris Maloney and coming to you live from London, Ontario. Weather's been, fall weather here in London today, pretty much throughout the week. I think we've had snow precipitation twice now. So obviously winter's right around the corner. Tomorrow for Halloween, it's looking, I think, +7. But rainy, of course, and it's typical fall Halloween weather. And then the clocks go ahead this weekend, so that'll be or go back. Is it go back or go ahead? Spring forward, fall back. So no, they go back. Sorry, my apologies. But anyways, guys, episode 11. Anniversaries, birthdays coming up this week. Today, actually, is the one and only radar superstar Edge, 47 years old, born in 1973. So if you're on social media, wish Edge a happy birthday there. I do believe the Devils is one of his favorite hockey teams as well, besides the Leafs. So we get that in common. But yeah, happy 47th birthday to Edge. And I think he celebrated anniversary with Beth Phoenix this past week as well, their wedding anniversary. So, a double congratulations for Edge, Mr. Adam Copeland there. The second is, November 2nd, Samir Singh is going to turn 33 years old, born in British Columbia, Canada, obviously, part of the Singh brothers there in WWE, as well as the once known as the Bollywood Boys over there in ECCW back in the day. And then unfortunate news, but this was back in 2001, so 19 years ago. On the 4th, Helen Hart passed away at the age of 77. I mean, she lived a long life, lots of kids, lots of family. You get the patriarch and Stu Hart, but they say behind every good man is a better woman. So, rest in peace, Helen Hart, 19 years later. But without her, we wouldn't have Bret Hitman Hart and the legacy and everything else that went along with it. Unfortunate news that is current, though, is this. And this took place a couple days ago. And on the 28th, actually, so just 2 days ago there, Tracy Smothers passed away. According to WWE.com, WWE saddened to learn that Tracy Smothers passed away today at the age of 58. Native Springfield, Tennessee, Smothers' team was Steve Armstrong, and his career began in Florida Championship Wrestling. The duo competed at WCW as the Southern Boys and as well as the Young Pistols, and were engaged in a long rivalry with the Fabulous Freebirds, a tandem of Michael Hayes and Jimmy Garvin. Another stint on the independent circuit, Smothers began wrestling in WWE as Freddie Joe Floyd. And then Smothers shared the rings with icons such as Triple H, Stone Cold Steve Austin during his time with WWE. Later, the wrestling veteran had a memorable run in ECW, and then lots of tributes came in, poured their way over social media with regards to Tracy Smothers. So 58 years old, another one dying young. Rest in peace. Thoughts and prayers out to his family, friends, and fans. He was battling with regards to health issues, cancer issues, I believe lymphoma. My apologies. And I think it was Chris Hero. It started up a GoFundMe to try to get him, money needed to be able to deal with this. Unfortunately, the American healthcare system isn't the same way it is up here in Canada. And, obviously with him being a wrestler, everything else, the bumps, the bruises, the life that Tracy Smothers had on the road and stuff like that, obviously took its toll. But unfortunate news, 58 years old, passing away way too young. So again, thoughts, prayers, and to his friends, family, and fans. And I remember, I forgot all about this until I'd read that article with regards to him being in those tag teams, the Southern Boys and the Young Pistols. And this was back in I think the early 90s WCW. And I was, growing up probably 10, 11, 12 years old. And the Young Pistols were huge, especially the United States Tag Team Championship that they had over in the NWA as well as WCW. So Fact is, it's 58 years old, so way too young. So again, thoughts and prayers with regards to Tracy Smothers there. News of the week: best of the Super Junior entrants to be revealed November the 2nd. That was announced on the 24th. So all the news I always do, obviously, usually starts about the moment I get off the air all the way through up until about the time I go on the air again. So if anything happens while I'm on the air, obviously I'll talk about it if it's big next week. But if it's not that big, I will usually go from Saturday all the way through till Friday afternoon, so to speak. But like I said, best of the Super Junior entrants to be revealed November 2nd. And then 2 title matches kick off November in Korakuen Hall. So I'm going to see if I can bring up this article here. And I am a little bit better at as far as my getting, I can't even think of the word. Tidier, I guess, neat and tidier. But anyways, 2 title matches kick off November in Korakuen Hall. After contenders start to the Road to Power Struggle Tour on October the 23rd, cards for the remainder of the tour have now been finalized with 2 title matches back to back. Korakuen Hall, November 1st and the 2nd. So you go on to read the article here, and basically, there's a lot of matches taking place. But the 2 title matches are going to be the Dangerous Techers putting their IWGP Tag Team Championships on the line against Yoshihashi as well as Hirooki Goto. So that's obviously Zack Sabre Jr. as well as Taichi. And then the other title match is for the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship. That's November 1st. The other one was November 2nd. So the Junior Heavyweight Tag Team Championships, my apologies. So Hiromu Takahashi and Bushi are going to challenge Kanemaru as well as El Desperado. So 2 title matches taking place there. I'll get into a little bit more about New Japan further on the show because obviously they're starting up a new New Japan Strong tonight over there on New Japan World. But yeah, New Japan, I mean, it's going to remain relevant till the end of the year. And then obviously through Wrestle Kingdom coming up November. Get my hopes up for next month. January 4th and 5th of next year, 2021. From there, Rohit Raju signs new multi-year deal with Impact Wrestling. So if you'd watched the prediction show, I had predicted him to come out on top. And so he did come out on top. And right before Bound for Glory had taken place, news broke that he'd signed a new multi-year deal with Impact. I find he's a good fit for Impact Wrestling. He's also talented as far as being in the ring as well as on the mic. So I was happy to see him retain the championship. It'll be interesting to see who takes the title off of him. I mean, there's a few guys out there that could easily go into a match and beat him within probably 10 minutes. But, he's that mouthpiece that kind of just gets under your skin. Just kind of, you watch him just to see if he's going to lose. So anyways, good news for them. Good news for Impact Wrestling, him signing a multi-year deal over there. Bound for Glory 2020 live results had taken place last Saturday as well. I'm not going to go into it again. Basically, if you want to see my thoughts on Bound for Glory, you can check out CWN Recap, the Bound for Glory episode. And as well as you want to see my predictions, you can check out the CWN Predict show that I had done on Bound for Glory as well. So those are up on YouTube as well as social media. So easy to find. From there, Knockouts Tag Team titles returned to Impact Wrestling. This was kind of cool because this I hadn't heard anything about. And all of a sudden, next thing you know, they're announcing this. And they started really playing up the women. You put them in pairs and everything else. So I'm really got to get that little filter thing in front of me because every time I say the P, it bounces off the mic. But Knockouts Tag Team titles return to Impact Wrestling. Bound for Glory, it was announced the Knockout Tag Team titles will be making their long-awaited return to Impact Wrestling, and that new champions will be crowned at Hard to Kill January 16th live on pay-per-view. So that was announced. Pretty good-looking titles going along with the other titles that they have. With the Knockouts division as stacked as ever, no better time to bring back the fan favorite championships, which duo will be next to put the Knockouts Tag Team titles around their waist. Tournament begins in 3 weeks on Impact. So, guys, if you're a fan of Impact Wrestling, like I said, they're starting to group the women. Obviously, Havoc and Nevaeh. They had obviously Kylie Ray and Susie. Not sure what's going on with that. Deonna Purrazzo as well as Kimberly Lee. They had formed an alliance this past week, so a couple nights ago, between Jordan Grace as well as Alicia. So obviously they're vying up for to get those titles to be relevant and not just to put 2 women together. So we'll have to wait and see how Jordan Grace and Alicia does between now and January, so to speak. But you've got almost like they kind of remind me of back in the day. You had it was Scott Norton as well as Buff Bagwell. And it was before buff was really buff, you know what I mean? But you had the dominant kind of Jordan Grace and the small, petite Alicia. So I think it's going to work out well as far as the tag team goes. Wouldn't be surprised if they actually win it. So we'll have to wait and see. Favorites, obviously going to be Havoc and probably Nevaeh. But and obviously they've got Tasha Steelz and Kiara Hogan as well. So it'll be interesting. It's going to be an interesting couple of weeks as far as the tag team tournament goes, crowning those new champions there. So from there, guys, we go into WWE Hell in Cell 2020 results. Obviously, once again, CWN recaps, CWN predicts. You can check out my thoughts on who was going to win, and then you can check out my thoughts of the show itself if you want to see that. From there, Survivor Series celebrate 30 years of The Undertaker. And this is kind of cool. They've announced it's going to be a huge theme with regards to The Undertaker and, him being around 30 years and making his debut at Survivor Series 1990. I watched the first episode of his series that they're doing week by week by week. This past weekend, last weekend, sorry, it was Randy Orton and The Undertaker. Ended up watching it. It was pretty good. It's brought back a lot of memories and this and that. You don't know how much had gone into it. Randy Orton talks about the word receipt. Taker is it's weird too, because Taker is talking like a normal, just kind of human being that you'd see at the grocery store and ask him how he's doing. You know what I mean? That's the way he's talking about his match with Randy Orton as well as the feud. So when it comes down to it, it's unique because you see the Taker character in the ring that everybody knows and loves and is seen for 30 years. But you see Mark Calloway behind the scenes talking about the Undertaker character and Randy Orton talking about the Randy Orton character. And it's interesting because Randy Orton, admits some of the mistakes that he has made. Says he loves playing the quote unquote prick character in wrestling. That's what he's good at. He's grown up a lot since that feud with The Undertaker that they talked about. And, from there, it's going to be interesting for the next couple of weeks to see, The Undertaker series. I know there's a Brothers of Destruction one. He does another episode of the Broken Skull podcast. I got to learn to slow down here. And then from there, there's also one on Paul Bearer. And then there's one more I feel like I'm forgetting. So, guys, if you're a fan of The Undertaker, definitely check that out over the next couple of weeks leading up to Survivor Series itself on November the 22nd. Lance Storm had an interview with regards to Fightful and Sean Ross Sapp. In the interview, he talked about ECW video games, WCW plans, wrestling Chris Jericho again, as well as Corner Gas. And Lance Storm and Bret Hart were on Corner Gas this past Monday. PVR the episode. Haven't got around to watch it yet, but it was on CTV Comedy. So I will be watching that sometime soon. But Lance Storm was excited about it. Said it's one of those things that was on his bucket list. And basically, he's happy to be a part of it. Trish Stratus had a role in it as well, but it wasn't the Trish Stratus character. And then, like I said, Bret Hart was part of it as well. So check that out. CTV Comedy. I believe they have, I know they have the app, but I believe you can kind of watch it, if you haven't seen the episode on demand or whatever the case may be. So check that out. From there, WWE's ThunderDome run in Orlando expected to end in late November. So basically with basketball coming back, NCAA basketball coming back, Orlando doesn't have a hockey team. So they've got Tampa Bay and Florida. But I don't believe Florida, maybe they do. I don't believe Florida plays in Orlando. And I say that with a NHL hat on. But guys, the news to the story is this, that sports are coming back. And because they're coming back, they need their arena back. So they can't have the WWE set up the way they are, which means the WWE's getting ousted. But it's Vince McMahon. He wants to keep the whole setup with regards to the ThunderDome. Having the pay-per-views there. Obviously, Raw and SmackDown are looking a lot better as well. So he's got to find a building that basically has no pro sports taking place as far as NHL or, NCAA or whatever the case may be. It's going to be tough because he's going to need the enhancements, the theatrics, the big scoreboards, all the electricity goes into the building and this and that. With the newer arenas, they have all of that. And it's easy for him to migrate into a building like that. If you have like an older building, it's going to be a little bit tougher. I don't think he needs necessarily the space of the Amway Center. I love this setup. When I was part of the ThunderDome, it was kind of cool. It was like my own personal bucket list, I guess. But I don't think he needs all of that because when you look at the setup of the actual ThunderDome itself and the virtual crowd, he could get away with, here in London, we have Budweiser Gardens. He could get away with a smaller arena venue like that. All depends on, how high that entranceway goes, how high he wants the scoreboard, so to speak, above the ring. So I don't know if worst case scenario, he's going to make it do. But the fact is, I don't know how many options he's actually going to have because of the fact you've got NCAA taking place, you've got NHL taking place, NBA taking place, and then it's you've got the AHL and stuff like that. So the minor league hockey and stuff like that. So it'd be interesting to see what happens. But it looks like Survivor Series might be maybe the last event that takes place for them in the Amway Center. We'll have to wait and see. Marty Scurll, currently without a role in Ring of Honor that reported on the 26th. So obviously the Speaking Out movement, Ring of Honor had signed Marty Scurll to be head booker. They had also signed Marty Scurll basically to be, part of the talent roster themselves. And then all of a sudden the Speaking Out movement takes place. And basically now he's left kind of without a role. And it's unfortunate, but it is the way it is. Until, everything gets settled. And I say that, with a grain of salt because of the fact you've got somebody like Jordan Devlin who made his re-debut this past week on NXT UK. So with Marty Scurll, it'll be interesting to see the take that Ring of Honor takes on him, as well as whether or not we see him resurface. Obviously, he signed not just basically a talent deal with the Ring of Honor, but he also signed a creative deal with Ring of Honor to be part of that head booking committee. And now all of a sudden he's left without a role over in ROH. So not a good sign for Marty Scurll. I can't see him going to AEW if ROH does not work out. But hopefully, everything does work out and he learns from this and kind of, if they go their separate ways, they go their separate ways. But they go their separate ways. Obviously, it's one of those things where it's, it was meant to be. It's unfortunate, but it's just the way it is. From there, WWE SmackDown draws under 900,000 viewers for 1 week shift to FS1. So last Friday, it was WWE SmackDown on FS1 because of the World Series. World Series now over. Los Angeles Dodgers end up winning that. So obviously, WWE was kind of left without a home. They end up going to FS1 for the night. So it is what it is. You know what I mean? It's you still have almost 1 million people following WWE SmackDown still. But the fact is, when it comes down to it, it's the nature of the beast, so to speak, as far as Fox and their sports world goes, so to speak. From there, New Japan Strong Preview Road to Showdown begins. That takes place tonight. I'm going to quickly bring this up, and I am a lot better at being that word's drawn a blank again. Tidy. I'm going to say tidy. That's the word of the night is tidy. So. The events of Never Behind Us Friday night sees New Japan Strong embark on the road to Showdown with some big matches set to hit New Japan World through November. Main event tonight, David Finlay, PJ Black, Alex Zane, and Mysterioso taking on the Bullet Club, which is Kenta, Tama Tonga, Tangaloa, and Hikuleo. And the one thing I found out this past week, I did this show with Sean Bates, the Scumbags of Wrestling, and Jonesy, and we're doing the baddest men in wrestling and like just baddest legit badasses, so to speak. So all of a sudden I'm doing research on Haku Ming, the father. And I didn't realize that the only one who is related to Haku is Tangaloa. So Tangaloa is his legitimate son. Now, in saying that, he's got 2 adopted sons as well. And the adopted sons, that's where Tama Tonga as well as Hikuleo fall in. So I didn't know that until this past week. So I did learn something new. And I got to meet the Gorillas of Destiny last year at an ROH show in Toronto. Nicest guys in the world. And I'm going to say that because of the fact, I paid to get my autograph. I got my autograph, got my pictures taken with the guys. And it was enhancement talent that took the picture. And it was, my cell phone, obviously. And the flash didn't go off. So when I checked out my photo, I was like, this sucks. And the only way to bring it back to life is to like Photoshop and edit it, but you're going to see the graininess in this and that. So I go up to the guys, is there any way in the world you can, I can get this picture taken again? And, the enhancement talent, I forget who it was, looks at me, he goes, sorry, but, these guys are busy, blah, 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 blah. So, I'm up there and I'm just kind of like, this kind of sucks. And I look, and at one point, the Gorillas of Destiny, basically, they're not signing autographs right at that moment. So all of a sudden, I go up and I say, hey, sorry to bug you guys, but I showed them the picture. I said, my picture didn't turn out with you guys. Is there any chance I can get another one? And sure enough, Tama Tonga looks at me. He goes, yeah, of course, So they did a couple photos, making sure the flash was on. So every now and then you'll see my not Instagram, but my Twitter account with the IWGP Tag Team Championship over my shoulder. And the guys are the nicest guys in the world. So Haku raised some good boys there. So that's all I got to say about that. So from there, let me find my notes again. Where are we here? Halloween week comes to Impact Plus. So Halloween week taking place, I believe, for free on Impact Plus. So I know they did it last week as well as part of the Bound for Glory weekend. But guys, if you're a fan of Impact Wrestling, some of the unique matches that they have had in the past. So Monsters Ball, Barbed Wire Massacre, Doomsday Chamber of Blood, bear witness to the Monster Abyss, Raven, Relic. I didn't realize Relic, they even say this in the article. Relic is killer spelled backwards. Didn't know that. And countless others. In addition, don't miss the best of the Demon Assassin in Rosemary's most demonic matches. So she is Canadian, so check that out. But like I said, that is part of Impact Plus, and it says right here on the screen, click here to watch free now. So yeah, nice little Halloween gift from Impact Wrestling there. Guys, from there we go into New Japan, another New Japan news. So they're in the news quite a bit this week. And guys, I'll let you know as well. Any news that I focus on, I'd say about 95% of it basically comes from the website, so cwnonline.ca. There'll be that odd one that I haven't put on the website, and I just thought it was comical, or I thought it was a piece of news that maybe necessarily, everybody didn't really care about. But to me personally, I thought it was cool. So you'll see it in here. There is one that's coming up, and I'll let you guys know. But New Japan Pro Wrestling just set 20,000 capacity limit for Wrestle Kingdom 15. So that was announced on the 27th. So guys, Wrestle Kingdom 15 taking place January 4th and 5th in the Tokyo Dome in Tokyo, Japan. True story. I had planned to go before coronavirus hit. I started looking into it last January. So when I watched when I watched Wrestle Kingdom 14 and saw the matches that taken place and the atmosphere and everything else, I looked at my wife. I said, I got to go. I said, I want to take a trip to Japan by myself, go 7 to 10 days. One of her best friends is a captain, a pilot, so to speak. And, she was recommending places to stay, as well as, how to get over there, how to travel, what to do, what not to do, this and that. And I was looking into it, and I was looking into pricing as well. And when I told my wife the price, she was like, okay, well, if you want to do it, do it. So I was like, okay. It's kind of like would have been my Christmas present, birthday present, everything else, you know what I mean? But anyways, fact is, when it comes down to it, obviously coronavirus hits, so I'm not going to Wrestle Kingdom, but 20,000 people will be there. Normally it's 40 to 50,000 people at capacity wise for Wrestle Kingdom, but yeah, it'll be interesting to see 20,000 people spaced out properly. I know I watched some of the G1 Climax 30 shows. They're absolutely amazing to see the fans in attendance again, to that New Japan silence, that New Japan clap, so to speak. It's an interesting atmosphere as far as the wrestling goes. It's not like North America where they scream and yell and get up in the wrestlers' faces. They appreciate it like they're watching almost theater over there. So again, 20,000 people in Tokyo Dome. It's going to be absolutely amazing to watch. So New Japan World, Wrestle Kingdom, taking place January 4th and 5th of next year. Serena Deeb defeats Thunder Rosa for the NWA World's Women's Championship. That is the first time we're going to mention Thunder Rosa's name for the news this week. So Serena Deeb ends up losing the first one to her. I think that was back in September. And all of a sudden on UWN, I think primetime, was episode 6 or 7 this week. She ends up winning the championship from her. So yeah, Serena Deeb, your new NWA World Women's Champion. WWE Performance Center experiences COVID-19 outbreak. That was reported on the 28th. Fact is, they had reported that it wasn't none of the main roster talents. And I don't think not last night, 2 nights ago, with regards to Halloween Havoc, I don't think anything changed as far as what they wanted to produce. So that is good news there. Nothing major come out of it, just that the news report, like I said, on the 28th. Major League Wrestling, MLW, resigns with BN Sports for weekly shows on Saturday nights. So here in Canada, you can check that out 10 p.m. every Saturday night. Right now, they're doing MLW Underground, but they will be back with Fusion, and we'll get to that momentarily here. Fans approved to attend NXT taping with a negative COVID-19 test. That was on the 28th as well. So when the news broke with regards to the COVID outbreak, apparently fans were tested with regards to the Performance Center on the Tuesday night or something like that. So Wednesday, those same fans were able to enter into the Performance Center, the Capital Wrestling Center, as they call it right now, to be part of NXT. Somebody on a podcast had mentioned, well, if they get tested on Tuesday and they go out to the bars on Tuesday night, so it is that entity, so to speak, that yes, that stuff could happen. But Halloween Havoc obviously took place. The fans were in attendance. So the fact is, when it comes down to it, it's WWE is going to do what they can to avoid any kind of major outbreaks as far as COVID goes. They are down in Florida, which is a little bit different from up here in Canada, that's for sure. But the fact is, they're still going to be safe. Everybody's got families, everything else. So WWE Supercard Season 7 coming this November. Apple, iOS, your iPhone, your Google Android. I think it's on Facebook as well. Not a big fan of the games as far as cell phones and mobiles go. But this might be one I get into. So we'll have to wait and see next month. Maven announced for November 4th WWE bump. This is that's that piece of news I was talking about that didn't make the website. So Maven, greatest memory of him was I was at WrestleMania 18. I had floor seats in Toronto, and all of a sudden I was out in the aisle, and then sure enough, it was him and I think Spike Dudley and Goldust come running down the same aisle, I think, where I was. I don't think I got any pictures of it because I took a lot of photos, by the way. But I think I was reloading my and this was back in the days of film. Okay. So I am older, but this was back in the days and I think I was reloading film as they were coming by me. I was like, oh, that would have been a great moment, great picture to get, Cell phone wise, it would, yeah, of course, I would have had my cell phone and video and everything else. But anyways, that's my biggest memory of Maven there is being probably from here 10 feet away from the guy, passing me as Goldust is chasing him. So anyways, it was kind of cool. Thunder Rosa drawing interest from WWE and AEW despite NWA contract. That was big news of the week. Apparently she's apparently she's under contract until 2021. So she is not going anywhere. But the fact is, if a deal is worked out, I don't think it's going to be Billy Corgan in the WWE. I think it's going to be Billy Corgan as well as AEW. So we've seen the AEW guys kind of invade. So obviously Ricky Starks is there. You've got Eddie Kingston is there. Thunder Rosa is there. Serena Deeb is there. So I think it's a AEW NWA cross promote thing. I think when the time is right, NWA, if they do decide to come back into the business again and start producing weekly TV shows beyond UWN, I think we'll see AEW stars invade, so to speak, NWA. So I think that would be cool, especially when they got Nick Aldis as champion and now Serena Deeb as well. So, and then they've got the Pope, who is now I want to say the TV champion, I believe is right. Yes, it is, because Trevor Murdoch is the national champion, I believe. So yeah, so NWA is still out there. It'll be interesting to see how they rebound from COVID, though. Matt Riddle gets name adjustment, now going just by Riddle. That was announced yesterday on the 29th. So whatever. WWE has another big quarter, posting net income of $48.3 million. There's big articles on Post Wrestling as well as F4W as well as WB Corporate, of course, so you can check that out. Long-winded. There was an audio call as well. The biggest thing that came out of the audio call, WB and Netflix producing multi-part Vince McMahon documentary. So that'll be interesting to see. A lot of questions with regards to the ratings, the talent, COVID, everything else. So check that out. It is on cwnonline.ca, so you'll be able to find the link easily that way. From there, what do we got? MLW returns Wednesday, November 18th at 7 p.m. So the restart officially. So that's going to be MLW Fusion. It's going to be coming back to TV. So that'll take place every Wednesday, 7 p.m. That is on Fubo as well. Fubo, not Fubu. Fubo Sports, and then it'll be on DAZN, YouTube, and BN Sports, all this sort of stuff as well. So easy ways to find MLW all over the place. And one of the matches I think they got set up is Myron Reed, I think, is going to be facing Brian Pillman in one of the first shows. So that Brian Pillman Jr., obviously, so that'll be interesting to see. WB Star suspends Twitch accounts, Friday meeting scheduled. That was today. So obviously the news that was broken probably about 4 to 5 weeks ago with regards to WB hammering down on social media accounts it's happened. So Paige wasn't too happy about it. AJ Styles made reference to it. Who else? I think Aleister Black, as well as Zelina Vega And then Cesaro, I think, had commented as well. A lot of them saying that basically it wasn't goodbye. It was just kind of, just basically we're just putting on pause. I think the big thing that comes out of it is with regards to them having to use their real names to be part of Twitch. So they can't use the same accounts that they've been using. So if they come back, you'll be seeing like Saraya as far as Paige goes, and Alan as far as AJ Styles goes. So I think if they do come back, that is what you're going to see. I'm still getting used to Twitch. I'm not big on it yet. Obviously, the show is live right now on Twitch, but I'm still learning about Twitch. So, excuse me, I definitely know it was a big moneymaker for a lot of those guys. And obviously, Lana, Rusev were part of that as well, now known as Miro. So, but that is AEW. And speaking of AEW, as far as the last little bit of news goes for pro wrestling, Pac to break his silence on AEW Dynamite next week. So, hasn't been heard from since March. Obviously, his brothers in arms, so to speak, with regards to Penta and Ray Phoenix, have moved on to become part of the family with regards to Eddie Kingston and the Butcher, the Blade, and the Bunny. And now all of a sudden he's going to break his silence. So Pac, the bastard, as they call him, is going to be interesting to see what he has to say. So, guys, last little bit of pro wrestling news. I got highlights, ratings, and then previews, and then it's going to do Survivor Series cards so far, but I'm not going to. I'll leave it for another week. But highlights from Raw: Styles defeats Jeff Hardy for a qualifying match. Keith Lee defeats Elias. I always want to say Elias, but it's Elias, obviously. Keith Lee defeats Elias. See, I almost screwed it up there. To basically be part of that team as well. Hurt Business defeats Retribution by DQ. Came down to, that was, by the way, a tag team elimination match. 2 spots. Number 1, Ali getting down to Mustafa Ali getting down to his own and basically just saying screw it and hitting one of the guys with the chair. Gets disqualified. So obviously, Hurt Business wins. The other thing was this weird thing with Mia Yim, who looked like she got possessed, and she ended up costing, I think MVP, ended up getting pinned because of it, because he's so distracted. And I haven't heard anything as what it was referenced to. But yeah, if you haven't seen Raw yet, go back and look for footage just of Mia Yim and doing what she did. And I mean, it was weird, and it went on longer than I thought it would. And obviously she came out of it, and then she got booted from the ring. The referee didn't like what she was doing, but I don't know what the backstory is, why she did it and where they're going with it. But it was a unique moment on Raw there. Another unique moment was Lana winning a Fatal 4 match to join Team Raw. Obviously, she gets put through the table again by Nia Jax, 5th or 6th time, I think it was. And then Sheamus defeats Matt Riddle, still known as Matt Riddle back then, to be part of the Team Raw Survivor Series team there. So, guys, from there, AEW Dark highlights, Evil Uno and Stu Grayson, like I said, rocking the SSB shirt here, defeated a tag team known as Top Flight. And then Brandon Cutler defeats Peter Avalon to get his very first win in AEW. So, guys, Brandon Cutler is no longer on. Well, I shouldn't say that, but he's no longer a loser. He has 1 win. So, be it as it may. Impact highlights here: Rich Swann defeats Eric Young in a title match, which was quick. Haven't seen Impact, so I'm just going by the highlights and the results that I saw posted. Tommy Dreamer defeated Brian Myers in a hardcore Halloween match. Triple XL defeats the Rascals. The Rascals on a losing streak right now. They lost against the Deaners on the Bound for Glory kickoff show, and then obviously against Triple XL. Perazzo, Su Young legal segment there. So apparently what had happened was Perazzo come out with legal, said basically she was supposed to fight Kylie Ray, wants her title back because she wasn't scheduled to face Su Young. And Su Young comes out and kicks the crap out of them. And then there was the wedding segment of Johnny Bravo and Rosemary. Prior to the wedding, apparently Taya Valkyrie said that Johnny Bravo's, becoming basically the worst guy in the world because he's stressing out about the wedding. They say their IDs or whatever the case may be. Father James Mitchell is there. They go and about to kiss. Lights go out. Next thing you know, they hear a shot. Lights come back on. Johnny's been shot. So who shot Johnny Bravo? Look for it continuously through the end of the year, probably. So my vote is Cody Deaner. Deaner's always get this look on his face. So I'm going to say Deaner might be suspect as far as shooting Johnny Bravo. I'm not sure why, but I'm going to put my money on saying Cody Deaner did it. This is going to be like that Clue game, except nobody really dies. ROH highlights: Tracy Williams defeats Jay Lethal by submission. Jonathan Gresham defeats Josh Woods by pinfall. Pure title tournament finals are set. So you've got Tracy Williams taking on Jonathan Gresham for the ROH Pure Championship coming up. Halloween Havoc highlights. You've got, let me see here, Gargano defeats Damian Priest in Devil's Playground match to become the new North American champion. Pete Dunne arrived in NXT, joined Pete McAfee, Oney Lorcan, and Danny Burch. Laid a beatdown on Kyle O'Reilly. Dexter Lumis, Cameron Grimes had a Haunted House of Terror match. Haven't seen NXT because I ended up watching AEW on Wednesday, but just the look of Cameron Grimes and Dexter Lumis in a van, and it's kind of looked awkward and weird, but I mean, that's the whole Dexter Lumis character, right? Io Shirai ends up beating Candice LeRae in the main event, tables, ladders, and scares match, and to retain. And then who was it? Rhea Ripley defeats Gonzalez. I always want to say Renee Gonzalez, but it's Raquel Gonzalez. So that was another match that took place. AEW highlights, Hangman Page defeats Wardlow to advance. Young Bucks announcement saying that at Full Gear, if they don't win the titles, that's it. They're never challenging for them again. Inner Circle Town Hall, which was kind of comical there. Eric Bischoff made another appearance in AEW. Big point of this is basically Sammy Guevara as well as Ortiz basically say they couldn't care less about MJF. So the fact is they're going to fight him and Wardlow next week. Cody defeats Orange Cassidy in a lumberjack match. Serena Deeb defeats Layla Hirsch to retain the NWA Women's Championship. Sean Spears, who I think is now 11-0 in his last 11 matches, has a bit of a tussle there with Scorpio Sky. So he beats somebody in the ring. I forget the initials, VSK, I think. I'm not sure. You go on the AEW website. And then all of a sudden he goes out into the ring and somebody's throwing candy at him, and it ends up being this bull. So Sean Spears takes the bull, pulls him in the ring, goes to load up the glove. And as he's loading up the glove, he unmasks to basically be Scorpio Sky, and Scorpio Sky nails Sean Spears. And so obviously those two are continuing their feud. So Sean Spears, Scorpio Sky, I'm interested to see it. Two good athletes there. And then Kenny Omega defeats Penta in the main event to advance. So you've got Kenny Omega taking on Hangman in the finals of the tournament. And Kenny Omega is back to being almost full out New Japan Kenny Omega. So guys, if you're a fan of New Japan Pro Wrestling or Kenny Omega, start watching AEW there. And then NXT UK highlights. Jordan Devlin, like I said, made his return, defeat Levi Muir. And then Walter defeats Ilya Dragunov in basically one of the best matches I think I've seen this year, just as far as hard-hitting, just brutality as far as the two guys went. And you didn't know which way it was going to take place, but man, those chops by Walter, geez, I mean, he could slap down a brick house. I'm loving Walter. I got to see him live at in Toronto last year, and he's appears a lot bigger on TV, but when you see him outside the ring, one of the most humble, nicest guys that you ever meet. Ratings this week. So Raw, 1,732,000.51 in the 18 to 49 demo, 6th on cable. AEW was 781, 0.32 in the 18 to 49, 12th on cable. Canada, and I'm loving these stats by Post Wrestling. So John Pollock is really good at this, or Wade Ting, one of the two. Canada, as far as the viewership goes, 103,500, so 103,500 as far as Canadian viewers go, 68,200 in the 25 to 54 demo. So the demo is a little bit different. Number one sports program in the country on Wednesday. So that is pretty cool to hear. And then NXT beat AEW this week. And obviously the heavy promotion for Halloween Havoc, Shotzi Blackheart doing the hosting. But 875 as far as NXT goes this week. 0.25 in the 18 to 49, 21st on cable. So that is it for ratings there. And last little bit, as far as pro wrestling goes, SmackDown preview tonight. Last I saw, Jey Uso faces the consequences of losing to his cousin Roman Reigns at WWE Hell in a Cell. Kevin Owens is fighting tonight, and Jey Uso, I think, is fighting Daniel Bryan tonight on SmackDown. So check that out after you're done watching the show here. 205 Live preview, Kurt Stallion taking on Ariya Daivari, Mansoor and the Brian Kendrick taking on Everrise. New Japan Strong preview, I'd already mentioned that, but like I said, you've got Finlay, PJ Black, Alex Zane, Mysterioso taking on Bullet Club. And then MLW Underground, which is MLW highlights from like 10, 15 years ago. This week, Steve Corino is champion, defending against Mike Awesome. The Hit Squad taking on the Samoan Island Tribe. And then Dr. Death Steve Williams, he was part of the tournament we did for Fantasy Warfare tournament this past Wednesday, taking on the one and only CW Anderson. So, yeah, that should be good for anybody who's looking for wrestling tomorrow night on Halloween. Survivor Series 2020 card, I will talk about that probably starting next week. It makes sense, the month of November. I was going to do it tonight, but running short on time, and I've got some other stuff I want to talk about and a big announcement I want to make as well. Mixed martial arts, UFC 254, Khabib versus Justin Gaethje took place last Saturday. Obviously, the big news of that is Khabib Nurmagomedov. I'm still learning how to pronounce that name, but I will get better. Nurmagomedov. A little bit better. Anyways, announced his retirement. So I'm going to bring up this here because I wanted to know personally. I know he's 29-0, and I think he said he's 13-0 as far as UFC goes. But his nickname's the Eagle. Guys, 5'10", 155 pounds. And this is what I'm looking for here. Age 32 years old. So Khabib is only 32, retiring from UFC, retiring from mixed martial arts. Said it's just not the same without his dad, and it's completely understandable. With regards to his dad, I'm just going to bring this up quickly here. All this comes from Wikipedia, by the way, so it's easy to find. But married in 2013, but in May of 2020, Khabib's father and longtime trainer, Abdul Manap, who he was very close to, was placed in medical-induced coma after contracting COVID-19 following heart surgery. Died on July the 3rd, 2020, at a clinic in Moscow at the age of 57. So Khabib, in his post-fight interview for UFC 254, just basically said he couldn't do it anymore without his dad. He made a promise to his mother. So that was it. He was hanging up the gloves, so to speak, left his gloves laying in the ring, retires as champion, and basically says if the UFC wants to do anything for him, is basically make him number one as the best pound-per-pound fighter UFC has ever had. Obviously, John Jones had taken offense to that, but it's just John Jones being John Jones, So, anyways, happy retirement to Khabib. It's sad what happened with his dad. It's sad that he's, going out at the height of what he was as far as champion goes, or what he, was what he also meant to the UFC. And the fact is, but to make a promise like that to his mom and to basically honor his father the way he is, you can't really be upset about that. GSP reacted to the news. So there's a interview with him and Ariel Helwani as part of the MMA show that was on the 24th as well. So pretty much within a couple hours of Khabib announcing his news there. Other MMA news. So Mousasi beats Lima at Bellator 250 to win the middleweight championship. And also AEW's Jake Hager wins at Bellator 250 as well, a split decision. When you see the close-ups of Jake Hager, now this is a guy you normally see in the wrestling ring, but you see the close-up of Jake Hager after winning by split decision. He's cut open. He's, you can tell the bruises are going to hit. It'd be interesting to see him if he's on AEW on Wednesday to see what kind of shape he's in. But it's the heavyweight division. I think his opponent was 270-ish, and Hager had weighed in 253-ish, I believe it was. So I think it was about a 20-pound weight difference between the two. But it's a heavyweight division, so you have a guy who's 350 pounds that you're fighting against, But Hager ends up winning, so he's 3-0-1. As far as MMA Bellator goes. So, and he says he's looking to fight again. So I don't think it'll be by the anytime again this year, but early next year, probably January, February, I could see Hager stepping back into the octagon, so to speak. And then one championship inside the Matrix took place earlier on this morning. You can check out full video on CWNonline.ca. That is courtesy of YouTube. It was about a 3-hour production. So if you're looking for MMA, definitely check that out. CWNonline.ca. Like I said, courtesy of YouTube for one championship inside the Matrix. And then tomorrow, Halloween, UFC Fight Night. You've got Hall versus Silva. So Uriah Hall taking on the one and only Anderson the Spider Silva. Main card takes place 7:00 p.m. Eastern Time. That is on TSN 5. Prelims 4 p.m. Eastern Time on TSN 5 as well. So guys, free fighting tomorrow as far as UFC goes. And that is the end of that. So as always, I do this. I'm going to get some water into me. And I'm going to show some promos by Sean Bates of the Scumbags of Wrestling, as well as Ryan Knights of the Knights of the Squared Circle. And we'll talk about some Canadian independent wrestling here. So, guys, hang tight, and I'll be right back with you guys.
Hey, wrestling fans, it's Sean from the Scumbags of Wrestling. Have you checked out our latest t-shirt design? It's inspired by our friends over at London Comic Con. Nigel Lewis of NCL Studios came up with this amazing design of a comic book cover. It features 22 stars of the Ontario independent wrestling scene, including Cody Deaner, Jody Threat, Casey Spinelli, Tyson Dukes, Brent Banks, Tarek, Sebastian Suave, Halal Beefcake, graduates of the Tyson Dukes Wrestle Factory, and many more. You can get your t-shirt for just $30 or buy the poster for $15. Proceeds from this sale are going to go to Sick Kids Hospital in Toronto on behalf of Steven's Wrestling Journey. Steven's an 8-year-old fighting Chiari malformation, and they're searching for a cure. You can contact me either through our Facebook page, Scumbags of Wrestling, or email me at scumbagswrestling@gmail.com. Get yourself a great t-shirt with an amazing design and help a wonderful cause at the same time. So contact me today and get your shirt or poster.
Are you a pro wrestling fan? Do you want the latest info on shows and the stars that appear throughout Ontario? Are you looking for information and insight into the independent wrestling scene? Want interviews and information on the big leagues? Then you want Knights of the Squared Circle with Ryan Knight on Coyote 103. Ryan has his finger on the pulse of wrestling in Ontario on every level, and he brings that to you every Sunday at noon. Listen for your wrestling fix with Ryan Knight and Knights of the Squared Circle, Sunday at noon, only on Coyote 103.
So, as always, thank you for the promos from Sean Bates of the Scumbags of Wrestling, as well as Ryan Knight of the Knights of the Squared Circle. Again, we're going to talk some Canadian independent wrestling news here. So, hashtag we are CIW. You can see the actual website itself down below. So, www. Learn to slow down, CanadianIndependentWrestling.ca. So that affords you to the Facebook group. Last I checked, I think we're at 366, 366 as far as members go. So the push for 400 before the end of the year. But like I said, CanadianIndependentWrestling.ca. So this is my time to talk about independent wrestling here in Canada. Something I love, something I've loved for, God, a long time now. I think I went to my first ever show, Medway Arena here in London, Ontario, back in the late 90s. And, I think the last show I went to was a Smash Wrestling show. Might have been the Christmas one at the London Music Hall. And then obviously, no, hold on a second. No, it was Fanshawe show. I think it was Carter Mason, Tyson Dukes in the main event. So I think that was the last independent wrestling show I had gone to. And then all hell broke loose as far as this virus goes. But I'm missing Canadian independent wrestling. So some of the people in the country of Canada, though, are not missing it because it is live and, obviously safe in different parts of the country. Saying that RCW Friday Night Fights, Calgary, Alberta, October the 30th. So tonight, 7:30 p.m. Mountain Time. RCW Saturday Night Fights, Edmonton, Alberta, October 31st. Tomorrow, 7:30 p.m. Mountain Time as well. CWE Live in Medicine Hat, Alberta, taking place tomorrow, October 31st, 7 p.m. Mountain Time. NSW presents Next Level online show, November the 1st, which is Sunday, taking place 4 p.m. Eastern. That's iPay-per-view. And then there is a free pre-show taking place at 3:15. I think one of the matches has Eazy-E taking on Ricky Wildey. I think it's Wildly. I've never get the chance to see the guy. It's a little bit, outside of the London area. But, anyways, long story short, they are having an iPay-per-view as far as New School Wrestling goes. I think that is owned by Steve Brown, the world-renowned Steve Brown. So check that out if you get a chance. Like I said, there's a 45-minute pre-show, and then the main show starts at 4 p.m. And don't forget about the time change. So 4 p.m. would be realistically... Well, I don't know, do the math. But if I'm missing any shows at all, upcoming at CWNonline.ca is the way to get in touch with me as far as shows go that I'm missing. Everything I do is done through Facebook or social media, Twitter. So that's how I found out about the shows. But if you're a promoter, talent, anything at all, and like I said, I'm missing anything, upcoming at cwnonline.ca. Shooting Up North Indie Edition with Lewis Carlin presents Holden Albright. That was on the 24th. You can find that on YouTube as well as cwnonline.ca. Shooting Up North Indie Edition with Lewis Carlin presents the upperclassman Jefferson James. That was yesterday, the 29th. Again, cwnonline.ca as well as YouTube. Steven's Wrestling Journey, Steve's 3 with Fred Rosser, otherwise known as Darren Young. That launched today on YouTube. Obviously, Steven Spice, Steven's Wrestling Journey. That's the guy behind it. You can check him out, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube. Guys dealing with Chiari malformation. It's tough being the age he is. And, but wrestling, he loves wrestling, and wrestling makes him forget about what he's dealing with. But like I said, Steven's Wrestling Journey, Sean Bates of the Scumbags of Wrestling, his t-shirts, his posters, all the money from that goes to Sick Kids in Toronto, as on behalf of Steven. So check out his work, because he has a gift as far as doing interviews goes. But like I said, Steven's 3 with Fred Rosser, Darren Young, that is on YouTube, as well as I haven't posted on CWN Online yet, but it will be on CWN Online within the next couple hours, I believe. The last thing I want to talk about as far as Canadian independent wrestling goes and what's out there. So Big Ben and Friends podcast, episode number 20, does an interview with Nolan Edward. It's not your typical opening as far as the show goes. And this is why. So Big Ben, Ben Ortman, is a part of I want to say Canadian, but it's not. It's Cross Body Pro Wrestling Academy. And he, plays a message at the beginning with regards to what's going on with Notorious TID, as well as his wife. And guys, I'm going to just read this to you here. And I'm just going to do a refresh just to see where we're at. But fundraiser right now for Kelly Brown Tidwell, $7,200 has been raised of a $10,000 goal. 73 donors, so almost $100 per person that they're donating there, and 483 shares, 73 followers. It's doing well. They are about, like I said, $2,800 away from that goal. But this is why it's taken place. Created 6 days ago, by the way. So on Friday, October 9th, the lives of the Brown and Tidwell families changed forever. Kelly Brown Tidwell was suddenly diagnosed with ovarian cancer. Kelly is the most loved and admired person I know. Her work with dog rescue and her tireless work to care for all those around her make Kelly a priceless member of our community. As radiation and chemotherapy awaits her in the next few weeks, she deserves the support from us that she has selflessly given over the years. Please consider supporting this wonderful woman and her fight with cancer. So guys, check that out with regards to GoFundMe. You can check out the Twitter feed as well as the Facebook feed right now of CWN Online, as well as the websites of cwnonline.ca to find the links for the GoFundMe. But again, it's a fundraiser for Kelly Brown Tidwell. Thoughts and prayers are with them right now. Like I said, I found out the news from watching Big Ben's and Friends podcast, episode number 20. At the beginning of the show, that's how he had started out. But guys, it's, it is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Any money that can be raised to help any individual out there, especially one of our own in Ontario Independent Wrestling, definitely if you have money that you can spare, donate to, good causes as far as Breast Cancer Awareness Month goes, or Kelly Brown Tidwell. I will say this. So the shows that I got to see independent wrestling, the very first ones I got to see, Tid was on, I know the one I saw at Centennial Hall. I'm not sure if he was on the first one I saw at Medway, but here's a guy who's been part of the business for a long time. I believe when I was doing a former podcast back in, I think, 2005, I think I had the honor of interviewing him. Might have been 2006. And again, he was one of the founding fathers, so to speak, of the law of live audio wrestling way back in the day. So, thoughts and prayers with him and his wife and his family, and hopefully they get through this. And guys, like I said, if you have the ability, go to GoFundMe. Links are on, like I said, CWN's Facebook, as well as Twitter, as well as the website. So if you have, money to spare, please help these guys out and and support. And hopefully, Kelly Brown Tidwell makes it out of this. And it's a lot of support. Like I said, right now, 73 donors, which is absolutely amazing. So from there, I don't think there's anything Canadian independent wrestling wise based that's left. I'm stumbling my words here, but I'm closing out the show pretty soon. But I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do this. And again, CanadianIndependentWrestling.ca is the way to find the website, the Facebook group. Eventually, the website will exist, but right now it goes and forwards to the Facebook group itself. But guys, something I am proud of is what I talked about last week, and that was the Canadian Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame. And I'll bring up the social media links and everything else momentarily here. But myself and Sean Bates and Christine Perchi had broken the news with regards to the categories that you'll be able to vote on. And then basically last week we announced 4 of them. So last week we announced the legend category, as well as the male wrestler category, the female wrestler category, as well as the tag team category. Well, guys, it's my honor tonight to introduce the next 4 categories. And I'm going to do this through video here. And then once I come back, I'll talk a little more about the Canadian Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame presented by CWN. But guys, it's something I'm proud of, something Sean is proud of, something Christine is proud of as well. But guys, check out this video here. These are the next 4 categories for the Canadian Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame presented by CWN. So there you have it, the next 4 categories, the final 4 votable categories as far as the class of 2021 goes, as far as the Canadian Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame. So you can see there, Canadian Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame presented by CWN. You can see all of the social media links as well as the website down below. So it's simply cpwhof.ca, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. We've got to get a following before I can change the actual name, but you just basically check out CPWHOF on YouTube, search that, and you'll be able to find the link itself, or go to the website cpwhof.ca and you'll have all the links up there as well. Email is cpwhof at cwnonline.ca, and then the official hashtag is just hashtag CPWHOF. So very excited about this one. So again, last 4 categories, the votable categories are this. So you've got the sharpshooter. So the sharpshooter, and if you know anything about me at all, you've heard me use that term before, sharpshooter. I actually had a website devoted to it as well, Sharpshooter Podcast as well. So it's like I said, me and the sharpshooter kind of go hand in hand as far as stuff that I've done. And it existed even before the Sharpshooter website existed. So I used to have these monthly awards that I used to put out as far as CWN goes. And it was the Sharpshooter and the Siren. And obviously the Sharpshooter is a category in the Canadian Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame presented by CWN, as well as the Siren Award. So what they are is the Sharpshooter Award is Men's Future Superstar. So the Siren Award is Women's Future Superstar. So with regards to the voting, the categories are this. You'll have 5 competitors in every single category. So the Men's Award, the Women's Award, Tag Team Award, the Sharpshooter Award, the Siren Award, 5 in every single category. Obviously, 5 will be 5 tag teams, Canadian-based, of course. The Legend Award is prior to 1980, which means that wrestler, that talent has had to have a career prior to 1980. So we're talking about people back in the 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, so to speak. As long as their career, so to speak, started before 1980, that is the cutoff. They are considered a legend, and they will be part of that category if they've been voted in to be voted for. From there, like I said, Sharpshooter, Siren, that is all across Canada. So that is Canadian Independent Wrestling. So the Sharpshooter Awards for the men, Siren Award is for the women. Sharpshooter, like I said, is true to my heart. I went away from CWN to try to create the Sharpshooter, the website, the podcast. It's always meant something here in Canada, especially with Bret Hart. The Siren Award, it was an award, like I said, I had done before Sharpshooter even existed, as a way of like a monthly kind of standout. I'll see if I can bring up some graphics maybe in the next couple of weeks just to show you guys how I used to do it. I think I might still have the little trophy pictures that I created, but long story short, Siren Award means even a little bit more because of Casey Michael, who had the website Squared Circle Sirens. He ended up passing away due to cancer, unfortunately. So that siren term actually honorable for him, for the website that he used to have. But just, it's always gone with the sharpshooter as far as I'm concerned. The MMA Award, Mixed Martial Arts Award, is one of those as well. So 5 competitors here in Canada that we feel have been standouts. Obviously, they're going to be voted on. 9 categories in total. Those are 7 of them. The 8th category is the Honor Award. And the Honor Award is this. What it means is manager, media, promoter, referee, or trainer. That is what the Honor Award is. So somebody who's been behind the scenes, somebody who's made wrestling better just for their existence. So referee in a match, a promoter who's done considerably well, here in Canada, media guy such as a writer or a journalist or a podcaster or somebody who does a website. What am I missing here? Referee, obviously that third guy in the ring at times. And then the trainer, somebody who has gotten people like Trish Stratus or Edge or, anybody like that to that next level. Somebody who in the very beginning was a huge part of somebody's career, guys like Lance Storm. So that is what the Honor Award is. Like I said, manager, media, promoter, referee, or trainer. That last award will not be mentioned until January the 18th, 2021, when we do the live show. That is specifically and special to one performer out there. We have touched base with him. He's going to be part of the show on January 18th, 2021, and we will announce that live on that episode. Excuse me. So 9 categories, 8 votable categories. CPWHOF.ca is the way to be able to vote. You'll see links on social media accounts for CWN Online, as well as you'll see them in the Canadian Independent Wrestling Facebook group, as well as the Scumbags of Wrestling will have links as well. But guys, 8 votable categories for the class of 2021 for the Canadian Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame presented by CWN. And voting will take place 12 o'clock. So 12 o'clock on Sunday, which is November 1st, all the way through 11:59 p.m. On November 30th. Voting you can take and you can vote once. You got to do it through your Facebook account. So it's that is your login. So we want to make sure you're not voting for the same person 1,000 times over. Anyways, Facebook is going to be your login, and then you'll be able to vote on all 8 of those categories. And you will see it go live on the website, so cpwhof.ca on Sunday. And then you'll see all the links, like I said, on social media. I'm excited. Canadian Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame presented by CWN has been something that was talked about. Sean was on board. Christine was on board as well. You can check out, like I said, cpwhof.ca. You can see the voting more in detail. You can see the categories. You can see, a short bio on myself, Christine, Sean, and then you'll see the actual links to be able to vote there as well. Like I said, you'll have to be logged into Facebook. But that's the only prerequisite, and then it's a free for all, so to speak. And then we will announce who gets in on the live episode on January 18th, 2021, for the Canadian Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame presented by CWN. So I am excited there, guys. From there, I talked about voting. Episode number 12, CWN, is going to take place next Friday, November the 6th. So I'm just going to bring these back. Episode number 12, November the 6th, live 7 p.m. Facebook, YouTube, as well as Twitch, and then followed up on Anchor to be able to present out to audio such as Spotify and Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, stuff like that. That weekend as well, you will see a prediction show as well as a recap show with regards to AEW Full Gear. So that is coming up next weekend as well. Survivor Series takes place a couple weeks after that. And I don't think Impact has any major pay-per-views. I think I saw something before I went on air with regards to another Impact Plus special, so I'll have to check that out. But definitely next week, like I said, Friday, November 12th, you will November 12th, Friday, November 6th, 7 p.m. episode number 12 of CWN Weekly. And then, like I said, predicts will be AW Full Gear next weekend. So you'll usually see, I think the show's on the Saturday, so it'll be 3 p.m. for as far as the prediction show goes next Saturday. And then it'll be the recap show following that, usually 15 to 20 minutes after AEW Full Gear ends. So check that out. I want to say this. I want to say a huge thank you, guys. A huge thank you. For whatever reason, and a small little short story before I get off the air here. But the fact is, with regards to CWN Predicts, last week when I was doing episode number 10, my goal was to talk about Impact Wrestling Bound for Glory on the show. So I was going to go over the matches. I was going to do basic quick highlights of them. And then that was it. And then when I looked at time and knowing I had to do the Canadian Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame, the announcement for the first 4 categories there, I was like, there's no way in the world I can give the time to Bound for Glory. So a big night for Impact Wrestling. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to make this into a prediction show. I'm also going to make this into a recap show. And that was my original plan. And then the news wasn't the biggest last week, as far as how much I had. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to do it on the show, episode number 10. It didn't happen. So I ended up doing the recap show and the prediction show. I'm going to say this. Thank you very much. And the reason I'm saying that is because I'm still growing doing the CWN Weekly thing. I'm still growing as far as the podcast goes and any of the stuff I do through CWN Online, obviously. I had 194 views, okay? 194 views on YouTube with regards to the prediction show for Bound for Glory. And I told my wife about it. I was like, I don't know this kind of glitch or whatever the case is. But even the recap show itself has a higher view count than the rest. But if you check out YouTube, you can find the show, nothing fancy about it other than I'm talking about Impact Wrestling. But the fact is, when it comes down to it, like I said, right before I went on the air tonight, 194 views on YouTube. That's absolutely freaking amazing. Thank you very much to anybody who checked out that show. Thank you very much to anybody who checked out the recap show. And my wife says, well, maybe you should put more emphasis on Impact Wrestling. And I've always loved Impact Wrestling way back to the weekly pay-per-view series days. So, again, thank you very much. It was, almost 200 views just for a prediction show last weekend. So well, it makes me smile. There we go. It makes me smile. Website, of course, CWNonline.ca. Feedback at CWNonline.ca as far as the email address goes. That is it right there. Social media links, stream, and well, not stream, but all show. But that is the email address there. Feedback at CWNonline.ca. If you watch the show, thank you very much live. If you're watching the show on replay, thank you very much. If you listen to the show, thank you very much. I enjoy doing this. All I want to do is grow, make this bigger, make this as big as I possibly can. And, I can't do it without the viewership and the listenership and everything else. Again, it is the last show that I will do as far as the month of October goes. So hence the pink. So the hashtag CWN Online, the feedback at CWN Online that you can see right now, the pink ribbon up there in the corner with regards to the CWN logo. They are all because of Breast Cancer Awareness Month, which is taking place all of the month of October. Next month, obviously, is Movember. So you probably will see Movember references throughout the show. Not sure if I'm going to do everything kind of, with regards to referencing the pink and everything else. Obviously, not for men. Because I think Movember is usually, I want to say yellow, but I don't know. I'll have to check that out. I normally will put like a mustache on the logo itself, but we'll have to wait and see. Now I'm just rambling, but hashtag Breast Cancer Awareness Month. You'll see the logos go back to normal as far as the colors go for next week. Check me out at Chris Maloney CWN. That's the way to get in touch with me on Instagram as well as Twitter. So check me out. Give me a follow on there. Give the show itself a like on YouTube. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. I appreciate it. Like I said, I still am growing. But my goal is to get as big as I possibly can. And especially with the Canadian Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame presented by CWN, my goal is to basically try to knock this out of the park. So guys, if you've watched, listened, thank you very much. I'll be back next week for episode number 12 of CWN Weekly. Again, November 6th, 7 p.m. live on Facebook, Twitch, as well as YouTube. So until next week, guys, enjoy your week. Enjoy your weekend. Happy Halloween. Pumpkin Man smiling behind me. So yeah, hopefully you guys have a safe and happy Halloween, and we'll see everybody again next Friday for CWN Weekly episode number 12. All right, take care, guys.